Hi, this is Guy Shavit with Signamax. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to configure the C-300 series switch for use with Dante protocol audio over IP. So there are two ways we can do this. First, I'm going to show you how to manually configure through the switch web GUI all the configuration that are recommended by Dante. The other option is going to be to load a pre-configured, pre-created configuration file, and we'll start first with the first option. So I'm logged into a C-300 series switch. It's got default configuration. The first thing we want to do is configure Igmp. So we're going to go here to Multicast, Igmp Snooping, General. We're going to enable Igmp Snooping. We're also going to enable Querier, and we're going to change the Igmp Snooping version to 3 and apply. Next, we need to configure Igmp on the specific VLAN that the Dante devices are going to be on. So I'm going to go to Interface. I'm going to Configure VLAN. This switch, since its default, has only one VLAN on it, which is VLAN 1, and all the ports are associated to that. If you change the VLAN number or have multiple VLANs, you would have to configure the Igmp settings accordingly. We want to enable Igmp snooping on this VLAN, enable MRD or multicast router discovery, change the query interval to 15 seconds, and set a proxy address. It doesn't really matter what the address is. I use 10.0.1.1. Some Dante devices have an issue with a blank or a 0000 address, so you just need to set any address that is not being used in your network. This is an address that when the switch is proxying Igmp packets, it will stick in there, so it's not blank. And we're going to apply. Next, we need to configure the quality of service settings that Dante requires. So we can go to Traffic, Priority. We're going to change the trust mode to DSCP on all the ports that we have Dante devices on. I'm going to do that on all ports here and apply. We need to change the queue mode to strict and apply. And we need to change the DSCP to queue settings. Now, Dante has 3 DSCP values that are used that need to be set to appropriate priorities. There is some unclear information about what should be done with all the other DSCP values. I am going to set them all to 0 just as a more conservative option. It is possible that they do not have to be, but okay, so we're going to set all of these to 0. The first DSCP value that Dante does use is 8, which we want to set to be a low priority. In this case, we are going to use 2. We're going to change all of these to 0 up until we reach the next value that is being used by Dante, which is 46. We want to set the DSCP value 46 to an intermediate queue. We are going to use, in this case, 6. I'm going to change it to 6. And then most important DSCP value that is used by Dante is 56, which we want to leave at the highest queue, which is 7. And we're going to 0 out the rest here and apply. Now, the last thing we want to do is disable EEE or Energy Efficient Ethernet per the Dante recommendations. We're going to go to Interface, Green Ethernet, and by default, it's enabled on all the copper ports. We are going to disable it on all the ports that have Dante devices connected to them. Once I do that, since the port is being reset, I'm going to lose connectivity with this switch momentarily. It should be back within a few seconds. There, we're back. Now, last and most important is that all the settings that I made now have taken effect immediately, but until we save the settings to the startup configuration, if the switch is rebooted, loses power, it will revert back to previous settings. So we need to save settings, which we do using this button over here, and wait for a success message. There we go. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that there's another option if you're not planning on making any changes at using this default template, if you will. We have created one for you and can just be uploaded to the switch. So if you go to our website, under any of the C-300 series switches and downloads, there is a solution guide. And at the end, after explaining all the different configurations that we've shown in this video, there is also an option with a pre-made configuration file. It will download as a zip file, which we then need to take the configuration out and save it. I'll save it here in my downloads. And then we can go back to the switch under System, File, Copy. We're going to choose an HTTP upload, configuration file. We want to choose that file that I just saved and apply. Now, since I'm uploading a configuration file directly into the startup config, I do not need to save. It is already in the startup config. But it also means that it will not take effect until I reboot the switch, which I can do here through reset, reboot. And when the switch comes up, it will have the optimized Dante configuration. Anyway, that is all for how to configure a C-300 series switch for use in a Dante network. Thank you very much. Have a good day.